Hello and good afternoon. I almost said good morning, but is in fact like 2 o'clock. It is Saturday afternoon, and I had a thought this past week after I had my appointment with my naturopath earlier, and we were kind of at the beginning like reflecting back on how long I've been working with her and just all the things that we have done over the years. And it kind of got me thinking, there are a lot of these very specific things that I do for my overall health, for trying to manage chronic fatigue, trying to get rid of heavy metals, trying to improve and optimize how my body can function both now and in the long term. But really the things that have been the most impactful, or the things that I think are the most important, are super simple, really basic everyday habits. I mean, obviously things like sleep, nutrition, movement, those are sort of broader categories that are very critical to health and well-being. But on an even simpler level, there are a number of things that have become seemingly really minor daily habits, but that I think are having such a huge benefit to really how every cell in my body is able to function. And they're things that I didn't really know or understand early on in my journey, and that I really wish I had focused on these things more at the beginning and really dialing in some of these things that seem so tiny but can have such a major impact. As I'm going about my week this week, I thought I would highlight some of these things that are not only really simple, they're free, they take probably less than 5 minutes. Some of them take only a few seconds, but they could quite literally change how your body's able to perform, function, and stay healthy on a daily basis. So like I said, I have tried a lot of things. Some of them you've seen, like red light, sauna, IV infusions, hyperbaric chamber, things like chiropractic or massage, cranial sacral therapy, myokinesthetics. I've obviously done a ton of testing, blood testing, gut testing, heavy metals testing, pretty much every test known to man more than once. Done elimination diets, SIBO treatment, detoxes. I've changed my nutrition, my sleep, my exercise routines. I'm managing my stress. I go to therapy. I've tried somatic therapy, neurological testing, EBO2, which is basically blood filtering. I've done genetic testing, I've had a sleep study, I've had surgeries, I've tried peptides and homeopathy, acupuncture, Maya abdominal massage, Chinese herbs, I've done medications, supplements, hormone replacement therapy, I've tried doing nothing at all, and I've tried basically everything. And my point is that after all of that, there are some maybe higher level things that I continue to do. If I find things that I feel like work really well for me or have some kind of major benefit, I will try to do it as much as possible. And if there's other things that don't work so well or just don't give me enough benefit for maybe the time or energy or money involved, I'll move on. But all of that said, if I couldn't do any of those other things, I would still be doing some of these very, very simple everyday habits because I know they're working. I know they're working like at a cellular level in my body, things I can do anywhere, no matter if I'm at home or if I'm traveling. They're really things I could do even on my very, very worst day for whatever reason. So I'm going to share some of these super simple, free, easy daily wellness habits that can have a huge impact on your health. And since I just finished eating lunch, one of the things that I try to do as much as possible is to take a short walk after meals or get in some kind of movement. Like if it's the middle of winter, if it's bad weather, or for whatever reason I can't actually go outside and walk, I get up and do some squats. I might take out my little mini trampoline and bounce around a little bit. I might just wander the halls of my building for a few minutes. Getting a little bit of movement after eating, it's kind of crazy how much this regulates your blood sugar response. Really regulating blood sugar is regulating metabolism, and your metabolism is literally running your whole body. Anything that you can do to support blood sugar regulation and metabolism regulation is going to be super beneficial for long-term health and wellness. A while back, I used a continuous glucose monitor. I did a video on this as well. So I was really aware of what my actual blood sugar response was in the moment. And walking after a meal was the one thing that I found to be actually impactful on my blood sugar response. So whenever I can after a meal, I try to get moving a little bit. Again, getting out for a few minutes of walking often for me is the easiest way to do it. But even if it's like just getting moving in some way to help your body actually use that glucose that is going into your bloodstream in just a few minutes or less, you've done something that's super helpful for your body. You don't need any fancy equipment, doesn't cost anything. And also getting moving after a meal really helps with digestion too. If you're doing this like in the evening after dinner, it can mean that you sleep better because you're digesting your food better. So there's just so many benefits to getting a little bit of movement after meals. The only time I might not do this is if I have done a workout right before I'm eating. That essentially is going to have the same effect. So that's another way that you could do it. Like if you know you're going to be fitting your workout in maybe around breakfast or lunch or something like that, timing it for right before or right after can be another way to impact your blood sugar response. The more we can regulate blood sugar, the more we can prevent prevent a lot of metabolic dysfunction, which basically can help prevent a lot of other dysfunctions down the road. So I'm gonna go out for a quick post-meal walk, and then I am off to get my hair cut, which may have nothing to do with overall health and well-being, but it's gonna feel good anyway. Okay, ever since I did my closet install, I had moved my dresser to this space kind of at the entry of my bedroom, and I don't love it here. I want to swap it with that bookshelf that is opposite my bed, and I just haven't gotten around to it, but that is my project for today. Neither of these things is that heavy. They're a little bit awkward to move, and like this dresser can kind of scooch it, but I'm a little worried that I'm going to scratch the wood floor. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do this without being destructive. We'll see if I can get it done. Okay, I like it. I like having this shelf here in the entryway and having the dresser here. I need to maybe shift it over a little bit, but I think it fits this space a little bit better. I will say moving that dresser, because it's way too heavy to lift. I think even if I had two people, there's sort of no way to really lift it, and I may have put some marks on my floor, but I think it's very surface level and I'll be able to like buff them out or whatever. I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see the lines on the floor there, and it only really shows up if the bright light is on. I'm not that worried about it, but I will probably try to get those out at some point. The next habit that I do every single day is to rehydrate first thing in the morning. This is definitely not something that I always did, but once I really learned the importance of not only proper hydration, but specifically hydrating after sleeping overnight, your body's a little bit dehydrated, and also just realizing that probably my overall intake of fluids was not adequate during the day, this was a really easy way to make sure that not only was I rehydrating in the morning, but that I was getting like a good head start on my water intake for the day. I think we all understand the importance of proper hydration, and we all probably feel like we're not always getting enough water or getting enough liquids during the day. So doing this first thing in the morning is a really great way to, like I said, not only rehydrate after sleeping, where you obviously are not like drinking liquids throughout the night, you're already a little bit dehydrated and you're getting a head start on your overall water intake for the day. I do like to add some electrolytes and a few other things to my water in the morning to make it easier for my body to absorb. So that is one thing that's kind of important. If you're just drinking like plain, especially filtered water, your body's not going to be able to actually absorb that as well. It's not going to get into your cells and actually rehydrate you as well as if it has a good balance of minerals and electrolytes in it. So depending on your water source, you may want to add something to it. I'm also kind of using mine as like a pre-workout drink. So I do add amino acids, creatine, a little bit of collagen so that I'm getting a little bit of protein in there as well, along with the electrolytes. And I add trace minerals because my water is super filtered, so it's stripping out all of the good minerals in the water. It's also stripping out a lot of bad stuff in the water, but I do add trace mineral drops back into my water as well. Again, I want to make sure that it has minerals and electrolytes in it because that's what actually helps my cells absorb the water and use it rather than just peeing it out. If you're using tap water or filtered water, you can also add like a little pinch of sea salt and some lemon juice or some kind of like citrus juice. Could be a splash of orange juice in there. That's also going to help your body be able to absorb and use that water really well. But especially if you're like waking up in the morning and maybe drinking coffee first thing before you're even hydrating, I would highly recommend giving it a try. Drink a big glass of water, maybe add a little sea salt and lemon juice in there. Maybe you're adding some electrolytes if you have that available, but getting rehydrated first thing in the morning. I've definitely noticed a difference in how I feel. I actually crave this drink in the morning, and I feel like it's just a really good way to kick off the day. And there is even some like behavioral psychology behind doing something within the first 30 minutes of waking up that is like a positive habit or like something that you want to do, maybe kind of a self-care habit that then plays into the rest of your day and the choices you're making after that. So you're kind of getting like a little win right away in the morning. You're putting in a vote for your overall health, and that can actually change then your choices and behaviors throughout the rest of the day because you've gotten this win first thing. So this is something I do every single day. Even if I'm traveling, I can do it. Even if I have to get up super early for some reason, I can make it the night before and just take it with me or chug it before I walk out the door. It's really, really easy. It takes like less than a minute, and it's a really great way to jumpstart the day. Okay, now that I'm well hydrated and the sun has come up, it is time to get out for morning sunlight exposure. This is another thing I try to do as much as possible every single day, and ideally like as soon as I can after waking up or as soon as the sun is up. There is a lot of science behind the power of sunlight in your eyes early in the morning, specifically like before 9 or 10 a.m. and like within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. This helps set your circadian rhythm and kind of kick off the cascade of hormones that you want to start in the morning that is then going to carry over not only throughout your day, but also even help you get better sleep at night. And we spend so much more time inside now, so much time under artificial lights and in front of screens. It really does have an effect on how our cells are able to work and kind of the signals they're being sent about what time of day it is. It's basically making it harder for our bodies to regulate. So getting out, getting that sunlight is so incredibly important and so powerful. There's just so much evidence behind it. I can't ignore it. And I feel like anytime I can get out, get that sunlight in the morning. It's so simple. It's very easy to do. It's fast. It doesn't take that long. If the sun is bright, it might only take like 2 minutes out there. It doesn't cost anything and it just has so many benefits. The other project I have been meaning to get to that I'm going to attempt right now is I still have my bed frame in the boxes in the hallway, and I would like to try to get it unboxed or just get the pieces out and try to store the pieces somewhere in my house, because I did order a new rug for my bedroom, but it is going to take until October to get here. So my plan, at least for now, is just to wait to set up the bed until I can get the rug out of there, get the new rug in, and not have to move things twice. But I obviously am not going to leave the boxes in the hallway until October. store, and I think it's just gonna be easier to unpack it and find spots where I can store the pieces rather than trying to drag those big boxes around. So that is what I'm going to tackle next. Well, I did manage to get the entire bed frame unpacked. There are a couple pieces over here too. I'm not super excited about the idea of having all of this stuff here until October, so I may need to find better spots for this, but this is gonna have to do for now because after unboxing all of this and then taking all the cardboard down to the recycling and breaking it down, I am ready for a shower and a nap. Okay, it's a couple hours later. I'm just making some lunch, and I know I can't be the only person that does this. Like, I find something that I like to eat and I will eat it like every other day for months until I get sick of it, and then I'll find something else and that one will be on repeat for the next however long. So I'm making my current sort of hyper fixation meal. If you're somebody that does that also, let me know what your favorite or go-to meal is that you could eat over and over again or do eat over and over again. Maybe I'll get some more inspiration. But this brings me to my next very small, simple, free wellness habit that I do every day, or I try to do every day. It's something that can really benefit overall health, and it literally takes less than 30 seconds. And that is to take 3 deep breaths before I eat a meal. This does a couple of things. One, it just kind of helps regulate your nervous system, puts you more in a parasympathetic state, which is like the rest and digest state, which makes sense given that we're about to eat food. We want to be able to digest. We obviously all have a lot of different stressors in our lives, and when you sit down to eat, if your body is stressed out or kind of in that more sympathetic, like hypervigilant state, it's not gonna do as well digesting food, and then you're not gonna do as well absorbing nutrients. There's the saying, you are what you eat, but really you are what you absorb. You could be eating the most nutrient dense, like healthiest diet, but like if your body is not doing a good job of actually breaking down those nutrients and absorbing them, it's not doing you a lot of good. So this is where the 3 deep breaths come in. And this is something that I learned from my naturopath like really early on. It's probably one of the first things she taught me. And if you have any kind of like GI struggles, or if you find that like you feel sort of bloated or icky after eating meals, this could also really help. Ideally, we're all like sitting down and eating a nice, quiet, undistracted meal, but I realize that that's not super realistic. And I myself am guilty of usually watching something or listening to something or maybe reading something while I'm eating, not just like eating in total silence and focusing only on my meal. But I do really try to sit down at the table and take a moment to regulate my nervous system, take a few deep breaths, and just let my body prepare to eat. There's actually a breathwork tool called the physiological sigh that can be really helpful in this situation. And it's the fastest and easiest way to lower your body's stress state. Even if you don't necessarily feel it, like you could be in a really stressful situation and do this, you might still feel stressed or still have that stressor coming at you. But internally, your body's physiological response to stress will be lowered. So it's also a great way to start a meal, to do a couple of these specific breaths, lower that stress state, and be ready to digest. So the way a physiological sigh works is you take an inhale through your nose, just kind of like a normal medium inhale. Then you take another sort of quick, short inhale, and then you exhale out your mouth fully. So it kind of goes like this. Simple as that. If you do that like 2 or 3 times, you have reduced your body's stress response. You can do that in any kind of stressful situation, but it's one that I like to do specifically before meals, or I'll just sit down and take like 3 slow, inhales and full exhales. Either way works well. So again, it's like a normal inhale through your nose, another quick inhale through your nose, and then just like a full exhale out of your mouth. Do 2 or 3 of those anytime you're feeling stressed, but maybe try it before a meal, see if you notice anything. The other thing that's kind of like adjacent to this particular habit that I do is to try to eat a little bit more slowly and actually chew my food well. It's just another thing that I know can be hard for all of us. I often find myself just like suddenly I'm done eating and I haven't even really thought about what I'm doing or kind of rushed through it. We want to digest our food well. We want to be able to take the nutrients from that food and have our body actually use it. And the more that we break down our food, specifically by chewing, the easier it is for the rest of that process to happen. So sitting down, taking a few deep breaths, trying to just eat a little more slowly and chew your food well can go a really long way. And not only to maybe just making you feel better after eating, but you're going to be digesting your food better overall, and that's going to mean better absorption and more nutrients for every cell in your body. So I'm gonna sit down, take my 3 deep breaths, eat my lunch, but first I'll show you what my repeat meal has been lately. Okay, this has been my go-to lunch several times a week for a very long time now. It's basically some like chicken salad. There are pickled onions, pickles, microgreens, and some Dijon mustard and smoked paprika in there. So good. Some hard-boiled eggs to get a little extra protein. There's some avocado and then an apple and some cinnamon. And actually cinnamon can help regulate blood sugar response as well. So there's another little hack you can try. But yeah, I probably will be eating this like every other day for the foreseeable future until I get tired of it. Hello from the sauna. I won't talk for too long because it's probably not the best idea for me to have my camera in the sauna, but once I get in the sauna, it's kind of the start of my wind down routine, getting ready for bed. And the last little daily habit that is super simple but also super impactful that I think kind of gets overlooked is having a consistent bedtime. Another one of these things that you've probably heard before, you probably already sort of intuitively understand the reasons for it, but it's so easy to not do it. And yet having a consistent bedtime, it's like a lot of these other things that I've been talking about, is so helpful for your body on a like super deep cellular level, keeping that circadian rhythm on track. And when you keep that circadian rhythm on track, it just means that everything in your body is functioning more optimally. Every cell in your body is better able to do its job, and your body is going to just be able to perform better, for lack of a better word. That means that your overall health is going to be better, and you're just going to feel better too. Again, I think it kind of makes sense that if you have a consistent bedtime, your body's going to kind of start to know what that schedule is. You're going to start to feel sleepy. It's going to get easier and easier to go to bed at that consistent time because your body is literally going to be on that clock. And think about like what we do with little kids or babies. They're on a sleep schedule. Like you kind of know what time they need to go to bed to get the right amount of sleep and what time they're going to be getting tired. And there's a whole kind of routine to it. And keeping that consistent is really important and helpful. And yet then we become adults and like that all flies out the window and we think that we can just go from 100 to 0 and just get in bed and fall asleep. And again, this is something that I really didn't do very well at the beginning of my health journey, even though I was so tired all the time. My work schedule was really different. I was often working pretty late at the gym, and it was always very easy for me to go to sleep because I was so tired, but I definitely wasn't keeping a consistent bedtime, and then I would probably go to bed a little bit later on the weekends and wake up a little bit later, and that would throw things off. And the more that I have gotten into a good bedtime routine and had that consistent bedtime, the better my sleep has gotten. I wake up around the same time every day just on my own. I don't have to set an alarm. I think a lot of people also want to have a better morning routine or maybe wake up earlier. That really starts with the night before and how you're preparing for bed and what time you're going to sleep. And I believe there's also some research that shows that even more important than the amount of sleep you're getting is the consistency of your sleep pattern, like what time you're going to bed. Having that consistent bedtime, even though it seems kind of like a minor thing, it's just going to be like one of those dominoes that sets everything else into motion. And it's going to impact so many other things because it is literally affecting how your cells work. And healthy cellular function is healthy human function. So consistent bedtime, another free, very simple simple, not necessarily easy. Just because it's simple does not mean that it's easy to do, and it's not something you have to be perfect about. There's always going to be situations or times where that doesn't work, but more often than not, or most of the time, you can have a bedtime that is like within half an hour of a certain time. That is going to be huge. For me, I know what time I kind of want to be getting in bed. I know that once I get in bed, I'm going to want to read for a little bit and have that time before I am actually falling asleep. So I kind of work my way backwards, figure out where I want to start that pre-bed wind down routine. And then if I'm traveling or if something changes where I know it's going to be a little bit disrupted, same thing, I'll just sort of do my best to like work backwards from what time I want to be in bed or falling asleep, and do my best to still get as close to that consistent bedtime as possible. So that's my little spiel about bedtime. I'm sure I'll think of other things to say about this later, but I better get my camera out of the sauna at this point. Good morning. It's a couple days later. I just finished a little cardio workout, and here's just a little reminder that if you are feeling a little stressed out or scattered, or you just kind of like can't get your thoughts together, do a little bit of movement. I am heading out of town tomorrow and have a lot of things I want to do today, and I was just feeling kind of discombobulated this morning and like pulled in a million different directions. But after getting in about 30 minutes of movement, I feel so much better. I feel ready to tackle everything, and it really can just totally shift how your mind and body feel and how your whole day goes. But I wanted to do a quick little recap on the 5 simple, free, everyday wellness habits that I've been sharing this week. The tiny little things that have become daily habits for me that I think are just really, really impactful, even though they are very simple, not time consuming, and they don't cost anything. The first one was morning sunlight, getting that early morning sun into your eyes, outside, not through a window, no sunglasses. You want to get that light into your eyes. It's going to signal to all of the cells in your body, activate them, get your circadian rhythm regulated, help you get better sleep at night, help you have better energy in the morning, literally just help your body function better on every level. The other thing I do first thing in the morning is getting hydrated. I don't think I need to explain why hydration is important, but it is very important. Even the tiniest bit of dehydration can really impact your ability to perform, even if that means like a cognitive task. If you're trying to do work, if you are dehydrated, your brain is not going to function as well. And doing it first thing in the morning, you're getting rehydrated after sleeping, you're getting a head start on your overall water intake for the day. And if you add in a little bit of sea salt, some lemon juice, or some electrolytes, something that will help your body and your cells really be able to absorb that water, even better. But get hydrated first thing in the morning. It's an easy win right away to kick off your day. The second little habit is to take 3 deep breaths before a meal, ideally sitting down, taking a few breaths before eating, just letting yourself kind of slow down, regulate your nervous system, reduce stress before you start to eat so that you can actually digest your food well, use those nutrients. If you're in a stress state when you're eating, your body is not going to be focused on digesting your food. And not only are you maybe gonna not feel great after eating, but you likely are not gonna be breaking down and absorbing the nutrients in that food. Again, it takes like 30 seconds at most for meals to take a few deep breaths, get into that parasympathetic state, allow your body to actually digest your food. After meals, try to get a little bit of movement in if I can, whether that means getting out for a quick walk or just doing a few sets of squats, especially if you have trouble maybe getting in movement throughout your day or like getting in formal exercise. This can also be a really nice way to get in short bouts of movement that will add up. So if you're doing like a 5 or 10 minute walk after each meal every day, or a quick little circuit of body weight exercises or something like that, you could pretty easily be getting like 15 to 30 minutes of movement in your day, but it's broken up. You're doing it after meals, so you're helping to regulate your blood sugar. Again, it seems really small and kind of insignificant. These are things that have a much deeper impact on our actual cellular health. And then in the long run, that can be the difference between being healthy later in life and having some kind of illness or disease or issues that come up. I mean, I'm not saying that like taking a walk after meals is going to completely prevent you from ever having a health issue in the future, but getting in the habit of doing some of these very small daily actions can truly have an impact on your health in the long term. And the last thing is to have a consistent bedtime, going to bed at the same time every night. Again, kind of circling back to the morning sunlight and setting your circadian rhythm. That's going to help you get sleepy at the same time each night, or to help your body know when it's time to wind down and go to bed, so you can have a consistent bedtime. And then that consistent bedtime is going to reinforce your circadian rhythm, help you wake up at the right time and feel rested and awake. All of our cells have a 24-hour clock, and the more consistent we can be with some of these things like morning sunlight or getting to bed on time and keeping those cells regulated, it's going to improve your sleep. It's again going to improve every aspect of how your body is able to function and perform. And sometimes the hard thing with these things is that like you're not going to feel it in the moment. You're not going to feel it when your cells are regulating. I mean, you might kind of feel it in the bigger picture of like you're waking up feeling better, waking up and going to bed at the same time, or you're just feeling more energetic throughout the day, or those kinds of things. But it's not like you're gonna feel your cells changing. But the health of our cells is the health of our body and our brains. And if there's really, really simple things that you can do on a daily basis, like sunlight and hydration and making sure that you're digesting your food well, that is going to benefit the health of your cells and your health long term. If you try any of these, or if you're already doing some of these, let me know in the comments anything that you've noticed, or if there are other really simple everyday wellness habits that you like to do. I'd love to hear that too. Today is Thursday and I am heading out of town tomorrow morning. I have a lot to do today. I'm going to New York for a few days for my nephew's birthday, and then I'm going from there to Virginia for a little horsey adventure, I guess. I will explain what that is all about later, because right now I really need to get started getting ready to go, getting a whole bunch of things done today so that I can leave tomorrow morning. Today is also 8 weeks since my surgery, so I will be doing updated photos for the clinic at the 2-month post-op mark. That's another thing I gotta get done today, and then just getting ready to get out the door tomorrow morning. So next week will be a little travel video, my adventures in New York and Virginia. Thank you very much as always for watching, and I will see you next week.